Hello everyone, welcome to another video on the channel. As today we look ahead to this Sunday's game where Vitoria Guimaraes take on Porto. Porto still currently at the top of the table, having recently won every game since drawing with Benfica back in October. Speaking of Benfica, Porto managed to win their most recent game back on Wednesday, courtesy of a header from Jan Bednarek. It wasn't amazing, but it was definitely a decent performance that was enough to get the win. Wasn't too many chances that, if any, that troubled Diogo Costa. The saves he had were pretty routine, and one moment Benfica did have Pavlidis as missed a sitter, but he didn't even get a proper touch on the ball to really have a chance to shoot. So from that point of view, I don't think Porto were really tested that much. The thing that still does concern me is, do we have the goal scoring in us? Samu still does get goals. The Brazilian players get them now and then. Sain's good, but I don't know if he's like a Samu that stays in his spot. The new signing, Oscar P, he is mostly a left winger, can play on the right, so he brings competition. And if he does play, it'd be interesting to see what he can do to see how far he can be behind his competitors, because I don't think he can solidify a place in the starting 11 over the course of a few games, but maybe even later this month he can perhaps claim a place in the first choice team. But still, goal scoring I think could be better, but we've got some time to improve on that, and hopefully that can come this time around. The other thing that's been on my mind, and following that win against the Benfica scum, can Pablo Rosario retain place at defensive midfield? He had a very good game against Benfica on Wednesday. Alan Varela hasn't been as dominating in his position, hasn't been at the levels since he was last injured. So I think Rosario definitely can take the place. I think something we will certainly, next time I go live, I will be discussing this with another Porto fan. That's going to be a talking point, not only on who's performing better out of Rosario and Varela, but the other thing to consider is, with Mora injured and Zaidu Sanusi not quite back yet, it means that it also affects the defence a bit, because Rosario sometimes goes in that back four as a means to cover for our losses. I'm not sure Thiago Silva has another 90 minutes in him. I'm not sure, but because Kiviar may well keep his spot. But still, does Rosario potentially stay in that defensive midfield position? If he starts again, I'm sure he's got one hell of a statement to claim. But yeah, I think generally most things are good with Porto. Thiago Silva certainly did all right on his return. I'm not sure the partnership between him and Bednarek is a sustainable one for the long term, because Thiago Silva doesn't cover the speed weakness of Bednarek. Goffing is some stuff to figure out sometime soon. To look at our opposition, Vitoria Guimaraes, currently 7th in the league at the moment, 3 points off of the top 4. They've also recently won the Taça da Liga, which congratulations to them. That's a trophy to their history and their cabinet. So respect there. And it was the same competition where Porto's only home defeat in all competitions came. And whilst Porto did take the lead and Vitoria Guimaraes did end up scoring 3 goals and getting the win, on paper it was bad, but in reality,
oh no! Anyway,
they've still got a bit of catching up to do if they want to get to the top 4 or closer, considering Braga's still a bit ahead of them. Gil Vicente and Morientes having excellent seasons for their level. But certainly a result here could give them a boost at some point. It could be influential to the end of the season, who knows. Going away to Vitoria Guimaraes is never easy, even with that 3-0 win with Victor Bruno last season. Players to look out for include Nelson Oliveira, striker who had a pretty long career, which included at Braga, at Swansea City, had some various clubs throughout. There's also Gustavo Silva, Benny Mukendi, the Angolan player, and Vitoria Guimaraes even have their own Samu, who's a Portuguese midfielder. Lineup-wise, I'm thinking probably about 4 changes. I certainly would think Alberto Costa should come in. Still unsure about the left back position, whether to still have Kiviar there or bring him back to centre back and use Fernandez or maybe Rosario there. As far as my prediction, I think Portugal will still have enough to get a result. Do I think we can win? Sure, but I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. I think it's going to be a competitive game. I'm going to say it's a 1-1 draw. I think it's going to be a competitive game. Vitoria Guimaraes have certainly stepped up since their end, even though they're not quite where they need to be. Going away to the won't be easy, and when they're still competing, it's going to be difficult. And I still think we haven't resolved the goal scoring issue that well. We've sort of got what we needed and then gotten the result, and I'm not sure how sustainable that's going to be. But once we can be more prolific, then I'll be more confident. I think it'll be a draw, but still not a bad result. So, yeah, that was my take on this upcoming game. Let me know what you think. All interaction is appreciated. I'll be looking ahead to the Vitoria Pilsen game pretty soon. And in the meantime, Forza Porto.